welcome to our Sunday Talks by Co-Church. Thank you so much for connecting with us. I am here at Harry's Delight in Ballito Junction on the north coast of KwaZulu-Natal. And the reason why I'm here is because we as a church want to collaborate and celebrate incredible initiatives that are happening in our region. And so we've taken Sunday Talks on the road, and we are so grateful that we can be in a small business like this, which is just one of many small businesses doing cool things in our area. So we're going to find out a little bit more about Harry's Delight. Okay, Nicole, tell me a little bit of the story of Harry's.
Okay, so Harry's started around 2014. The concept of Harry's actually came from my passion and love for cooking and baking. My mom shared in that as well.
Yep.
So together with the family, that's how Harry's store was born.
Where was the first store?
So the first store was opened in 2014 in Brydean. And then from there, through God's grace, we opened 2017 in Canobia, and today we're here at Ballito, which we opened in 2019.
If I was walking into Harry's, what experience would you like me to have?
Well, I would like you to have the taste of an authentic Durban curry, which is what we want to give our customers. You're feeling for that home-cooked meal, that mutton bunny, or that Cornish chicken curry, or that spicy crab curry, you definitely will get it at Harry's.
So I've got a question for you. I have been to India myself a few times. What makes a Durban curry different to a curry that I'd find in India?
Well, I guess it's the way in which we cook and the love that we put in it, and the South African love that we put in it that makes us special. And the spice blend as well.
Talk to me a little bit about what you do. Are you doing takeaways, deliveries?
Okay, so in terms of the food products that we offer, there's a wide range of food, from burgers, shawarmas, curries, bunnies, biryani we do as well. And in terms of delivery service, so our stores are on Uber Eats as well as Mr. Delivery, so it makes it very accessible to the customer.
What do you love about what you do?
The interaction with the customers. Giving that smile, that hello, that warm welcome, and knowing that they're getting satisfaction out of eating our food, and they're getting that home-cooked feeling.
How has faith played a role in this business?
I think faith's 99.9% of how we opened the stores, and then to go into the mall, which is so our first store is in the more of a construction area.
Yeah.
So it caters for different type of people.
Sure.
Then to jump into retail, completely different. And along with jumping into retail, the cost and the expenses and the overhead is way different than what we had with our first store. So the faith and having trust in God and that Him seeing us through, He's only been a miracle working God, I can tell you that. And especially through COVID.
Yes.
Without His provision over us, gosh, don't want to even think where we would be.
I want to start this talk by reading to you from the Bible. Ephesians chapter 4 and from verse 2. Be completely humble and gentle, be patient, bearing with one another in love. Make every effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. There is one body and one Spirit, just as you were called to one hope when you were called. One Lord, one faith, one baptism, one God and Father of all, who is over all and through all and in all. Today, I want to speak to you about united diversity. There are currently many of us on an active pursuit to discover purpose. And purpose is to know the reason why we are alive. And my hope is that every single one of us will come to a place where we settle within ourselves that we are in fact alive for a reason. What we've been looking at is a book. And this book is written by Pastor Rick Warren, and it's called The Purpose-Driven Life. We're on a 40-day adventure, and we've discovered a few things already. What we've discovered is that when it comes to purpose, the starting point is God. We are the created, He is the creator, and so it makes complete sense that everything of what purpose is begins in Him and is found in Him. And from The Purpose-Driven Life, Rick Warren actually speaks of 5 major purposes for every single one of us. We've covered the first purpose in that we are planned by God for His pleasure. And what that's speaking into is that you and I are specifically and uniquely created by God. We are made by Him and for Him, and we find our purpose in living in such a way that brings a smile to His face. You are not an accident. He created you. He had you in mind with purpose on your life. And now, as we have come to the end of the 3rd week, which is essentially speaking of the second purpose, we've been speaking about we are formed for God's family. We've covered in this last week what family is. We've spoken of the value of relationships, that love is the thing that matters most, and that actually we've been invited to live out this life where we do everything from a place of love. God's love is the love that is first, and we live in that love, and then from that place we extend love to those around us. Everything of our makeup, physiologically speaking, spiritually speaking, is designed to be with others. Community is more important now than ever. And we are by design to find our fit in community. And everything of what we are a part of as a community of faith is church. And church really is that family of faith. United diversity. If I'm speaking about family, let me just touch on my family for a second. I grew up in a household of 5. My folks and my 2 brothers. Well, it was actually a family of 4 for about 14 years until my little brother came along. Now, when it comes to a family like mine, and I'm sure with yours as well, there is so much about us that is the same. But at the exact same time, there is so much about us that is different. And it's actually that difference that brings beauty and depth and flavor to us as a family. Myself and Tam, our parents, we have 2 children. And again, now looking at our family, there is so much about us that is the same. But I can tell you honestly, as a parent, there is nothing that brings me greater joy than seeing my children live out their unique design. That they would grow into their unique makeup, and actually their differences are to be celebrated. They are to be enhanced. But when it comes to a family, is it possible, with all of the differences, with all of the uniqueness of each individual, for that family to be united? Well, we know that it is, because there are millions of families who all have unique differences, but there is a unity amongst that family. The sad truth is that there would be many families that are broken. And as much as there are certain mitigating factors, I would say that one of the issues when families are separated or segregated is that the differences become too much of an issue. And instead of being celebrated to the point where they are enhanced, they become a fracturing component of their relational dynamic. God, when He speaks about you and I who have faith, he speaks about us in the context of us being family. Family in God is the church. Now, there are many other metaphors that are used in relation to the church, but family is that one that gives us such a great picture as to the desire that God has for you and I. Now, remember, we're speaking about purpose, to know why we are alive. We are alive, uniquely created by God to live in such a way that brings a smile to his face, but we are also alive to bring about a sense of harmony and unity in the family of God. If we continue on that metaphor as the people of God being a family, or the church being a family and God being Father, let me tell you, it is a sweet, sweet household when there is unity in the family. Unity in amidst diversity. Because that's the beauty of family. Every single one of us has differences. Every single one of us is made in a way that ultimately reveals the colors and flavors of our Creator. Rick Warren, in his book, if I could quote him, he says that there is nothing more valuable on this earth to God than his church. And I would tend to agree with him. Not the institution of church, not the structure of church, but church in its essence, which is people, and people are the true treasure. We see so much pain inflicted on people by people. And is it because we've lost sight of how God sees us, and therefore how we can see other people? My hope is that as we come to this place of settling our purpose in life, is that we would see as God sees, and that we would see others as valuable, knowing that we were of so much value that God chose to give of himself in the form of Jesus, and that he would go to a cross because he valued our lives so much that he would lay down his for ours. Looking at the purpose-driven life and this united diversity, that a purpose that you and I carry is to be responsible for there being unity and harmony in amongst the family, I'm going to touch on 5 practical ways for there to be this sense of unity. The first one is this: focus on what we have in common, not our differences. We have one faith, one Lord, one baptism, one Spirit. Our differences, they make us beautiful. They bring color. They bring variety. And we want to embrace and we want to celebrate those. But we want to put our emphasis on what brings us together, not what causes us to be divided. This is not about uniformity. It is about unity. So stay focused on what matters most. We can get so bogged down on seemingly minuscule details which cause a fracturing when we need to keep lifting our eyes and focus on what brings us together. The second thing is choose to be an encourager rather than a criticizer. It's way easier sitting in the stands, spectating the game, and having an opinion and voicing that opinion. I would love it that as people, we would be ones who would choose to bring solution rather than just point out the problem. You know, a bad reputation we have as Christians is that we so easily turn on each other. We so easily make judgment calls and throw accusations and speak in such a way that divides. Why don't we choose to be people who encourage, to put courage into others, rather than living from a default place that is always to point out the wrong in people? Why don't we choose to see the gold in people? Choose to see the beauty in people. Choose to see the uniqueness in their design and to call out, by way of encouragement, the good that is in every single person who, living by faith, is now reconciled to this relationship with God. The next one is this, and this could be a big one. Refuse to gossip. Information being passed between people who are neither a part of the problem or the solution is what gossip is. Have courage. Have courage to be respectful in your refusal to spread gossip. Rick Warren says this: "It's sad that in God's flock, the greatest wounds usually come from the sheep, not the wolves." Speak life. Choose not to get involved in other people's business unnecessarily, but always live from a place that is to speak highly of others. And then finally, when it comes to a practicality, that we would bring about a sense of unity and understanding this, that there is blessing in unity. The Bible speaks so clearly about God's blessing being commanded, not suggested, not kind of maybe, but commanded. That when there is unity, there is blessing. The final one is this: practice God's method of conflict resolution. Conflict is going to arise. There is no doubt about it. We live in a world in which we are all on a journey. We're all coming to a place of maturing in Christ. And so we bring our imperfections into any dynamic. I want to encourage you to take on the responsibility that you're going to navigate conflict when it arises in a way that glorifies God and actually sees His intent taking place through that situation. Conflict isn't even necessarily a bad thing, because if we live from a place of conviction and integrity, there's going to be conflict that arises. But the best way to do it is to follow the biblical roadmap. And that is simply this: do it in private with the person where conflict arises. Take it directly to them. Don't go to somebody else first. If something comes up that you find or have taken exception to, speak to that person. Look at them in the eye with a smile on your face and grace in your spirit, but speak to them about it. If you find that there is no resolution right there, then by all means, invite 2 or 3 others whom you would trust and would both sense that there is wisdom in that. And then what we would find from a biblical way is that there can't be any resolve there. Then we take it out to a wider leadership perspective. But let's be people who are active in bringing resolve to any conflict, because therein lies growth. I want to finish by reading this passage of scripture from Colossians chapter 3. Verse 12, "Therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Bear with each other and forgive one another. If any of you has a grievance against someone else, forgive as the Lord has forgiven you. And over all these virtues, put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity. Let the peace of Christ rule your hearts, since as members of one body, you were called to peace, and be thankful." Unity, a united diversity, Let's celebrate differences. Let's champion people's uniqueness. Let's be this multicolored, full of flavor body of people. But let's carry that responsibility, that purpose, to bring unity to the family of God. Thank you so much for connecting with us. We continue on our 40 days of purpose, and if you're a part of it, you're going to hear some more of this tomorrow. You have every opportunity to catch up, even at this late stage. You just need to go to our website, www.co-church.org/teaching. You can get access to all of the podcasts, the blogs, and then you can join us on this journey. So thanks again to Harry's Delight for having us here. If you're in Cornubia, you're in Ballito, come on down and enjoy everything they have to offer, and we'll chat soon.